Hello everyone, welcome back to the monthly movie recommendations video. I'm going to recommend another 4 movies for you. Let me know what you think of them if you've seen them below. And let's get started. Dark Water, directed by Hideo Nakata. Nakata is mostly known for the famous Ring, or Ringu, which has also had some American iterations. He's even directed the sequel to the American remake, which is kind of crazy. But he also made another really good Japanese horror film that has kind of flown under the radar. Dark Water from 2002. I'm going to go ahead and say that I enjoyed this movie more than Ringu myself. The story is nice and grounded. Follow a woman and her daughter that move into kind of an eerie apartment complex after a divorce. And soon after they move in, a lot of weird stuff starts happening. Compared to Ring, it's kind of a more tame horror film, and it's not necessarily as horror as Ring, but it definitely has its spooky moments. I just think the story is a little bit more solid. It needs less context throughout the film. It feels a little bit more paced than Ring. So if you're a fan of Ring, I would highly recommend this because it definitely has similar elements. If you've not seen Ring but you're a horror fan, I would give this a shot as well. The Civil War on Drugs, directed by Trevor Moore and Zach Greger. If I tell you that a comedy movie where 2 people make the mistake of thinking that the Civil War is being waged over the legalization of marijuana, which causes them to embark on a crazy journey with many hilarious moments, and them thinking they caused this war, is directed by the same director as Barbarian and Weapons, would you believe me? Because it's true. I had to read it twice when I looked it up too. This movie is a genuine gem. You can tell that it's made just with a group of friends that had a lot of fun making this movie. It has good humor and it kind of feels like this Monty Python-ish comedy where it's very sketch-based and it reuses a lot of the actors. There's a lot of dialogue that I think is improvised. I mean, I don't know how you would have even scripted it. If you're looking for a good comedy film and a good time, I highly recommend this movie. Mysterious Skin by Greg Araki. Alright, I just want to give a heads up before you watch this movie. This movie contains a lot of sexual abuse against teenagers, children, but also adults. I want to recommend this movie because I feel like it's a very good telling of some of the most horrible stuff that exists and goes on in real life. This movie is like an actual horror film. Like, this stuff is happening in real life. And I'm not saying it's a horror movie in the sense of it has jump scares and you know, crazy serial killers with masks. No, it's a very heavy on the abuse topic, sexual abuse topic. You know, the way that it captures this manipulation, abuse, and trauma is so well done, and it really left a big impression on me. Even, you know, when I talk about this movie right now, I still feel that impression, and I really had to take a moment after this movie, you know, sit with it, think about it, and just process what I had just seen. And that's why I feel like I should recommend this movie, even though it's a very hard watch. It's a very tough pill to swallow. And that's why I do find it pretty difficult to rate it as well, because I would probably never watch this movie again because it's such a tough movie to watch. But I think it's also an important topic, you know, that needs to be talked about and it needs to be seen. And therefore, I did give it 5 stars. It is a masterpiece, and I would recommend it, but be warned, it has some incredibly tough stuff to sit through and to watch, but it does a really great job at this. And reading, you know, the behind the scenes of how this movie was made kind of makes you feel at ease again, because, you know, then it feels a lot less real. But you also have to realize that the stuff in this movie that happens is real and that it does happen. Alright, like I said, I gave it 5 stars. Let's go on to something a little bit more lighthearted. They Cloned Tyrone by Jewel Taylor. This movie, I feel like, went extremely under the radar. I never heard anyone talk about it, and I've seen it a couple times, you know, passing by when I still use streaming services, but I don't anymore, and I never really watched it. And now that I did, I'm very happy I did. It's a really nice and funny sci-fi comedy film that has quite a fantastic premise and just an absolutely fantastic cast to go with it. You know, the people that you follow, they have a really fun dynamic on screen, and you can just see that this movie was probably a lot of fun to shoot as well, also with a lot of the kind of gags that go on throughout the movie. It's not really something that I expected when I started this movie. It definitely went a very different route from what I had in my head, and you never really know what's gonna happen next. You know, you're always like, it's kind of a mystery movie in that way as well. You're kind of questioning what is going on for a big part of it. Same with the characters, they're also just as confused as you, which is really fun how they kind of drag you along that path of discovery. As far as I know, it's also the directorial debut by Joel Taylor, so it's a fantastic debut, and unfortunately, I don't think Joel Taylor has directed anything since, so I really hope we see more of his work soon. Alright, that was it. I hope you guys will watch some of these recommendations. Once again, you know, I tried to do a little bit of combination. We got some horror, we got drama, we got comedy, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah, that was it. Bye bye.